We need to talk. What's up YouTube, Graphic here with a bit of a serious topic this time. Well, the coronavirus. So, if you haven't been living under a rock lately, or even if you have, then you must have heard about this latest new virus called the coronavirus, this deadly virus that's going to kill us all. The fear among people is at an all-time high, and masks are being sold at very high prices to capitalize on the paranoia among people and the lack of awareness among the masses. I see a lot of fake messages on apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. with fake tips, scams and chainmail intended to be shared and raise awareness in the wrong way that can be very damaging and even fatal if you follow them without proper knowledge. Well, I decided to make this video to provide an educated point of view on the virus, tell a bit about its history, proper terminology, how to be safe from it, and bust some myths that people have and tell you everything you need to know about the coronavirus. So let's begin. First of all, coronavirus is not actually the correct name for the virus. Coronaviruses are a family of viruses that cause many diseases ranging from a common cold to SARS, which is severe acute respiratory syndrome, and MERS, MERS, Middle East respiratory syndrome. Two diseases that have experienced outbreaks in the past. An interesting thing to note is that the name corona comes from the Latin corona, its namesake, which means crown or a halo. Since when you view the virus under an electron microscope, it looks like the crown of a solar corona, due to the viral spikes on the surface of the virus. So that's the king, literally the king of the viruses, at least in appearance. But those are not the concerns here. What caused the recent outbreak is a virus from that family, which has been named the SARS-CoV-2 or the SARS coronavirus 2, which is the official name for the virus, and the disease that is caused by it is called the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 for short, named by the WHO, World Health Organization, on February the 11th, 2020, which makes it sound like a science experiment, but that's the name of the disease. In honor of the virus infecting 100,000 people as of today and getting the silver play button of VirusTube, probably they have something like that in their world, let's take a look at how it all began. So, on December the 31st, 2019, wrapping up the year, a new pneumonia was noticed. The WHO noticed that something was infecting dozens of people in the Wuhan province of China, Wuhan, however you say that, I'm not Chinese, from an unknown source. So that was identified and it was spreading, and they hadn't yet determined that it was spreading from human to human, so it was still in its infancy. The virus continued to spread until China reported its first death, a 61-year-old man, on January the 11th, 2020. So that was the first casualty that the virus had claimed, but it had many more lives to claim after that. There was a pattern that many who had been infected had visited the live animal market in Wuhan, so the virus came from animals. Like, there's a theory that suggests that, but it isn't really proved, so yeah. So a few days later, China had to impose a lockdown in Wuhan and had to suspend all forms of travel to stop the virus from spreading further, and I think they did a good job with that, but still the virus didn't stop from spreading. And finally, on January the 30th, 2020, the WHO declared the disease, and I quote, a public health emergency of international concern, which is a designation reserved for extraordinary events that threaten to spread internationally, which is a mouthful, and it is a pretty serious thing in itself. The virus has spread to a lot of people in such a short time and now has overtaken SARS in death rates as well, so it's pretty concerning, and a lot of people have many misconceptions about it. But it's not as fatal as Ebola, the Ebola virus in Africa, which is its greatest strength, since Ebola is merciless and kills its host before it even gets a chance to spread, while coronavirus can spread before it is fatal. So yeah. So now let's take a look at how the virus spreads. Coronaviruses are zoonotic, which means they can be transmitted between both animals and people, just like the SARS and MERS viruses before it. The disease spread from person to person through physical contact and droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. It can also spread by touching a surface that has virus on it and then touching a mouth or face, but it is not thought to be the main way it spreads because it can't really survive for long amounts of time outside the human body or an animal. The thing to note that it's not necessary that a person has to be critically sick to spread the virus, since a lot of people can have the virus and not exhibit the symptoms until later, which gives enough time for the virus to spread. The virus has reached a level of community spread, which means people are now getting infected locally within their communities as well, which is again concerning. So that's, I guess, all the scare for now. Let's see how you can be safe from the virus. So first of all, I'd like to reassure you, there is no reason to be alarmed or panic due to excessive media coverage that the virus is getting. People are scared of the fact that there is no known cure for the disease, but since it's a viral disease, antibiotics would do no good, so no wonder it had no cure. So does a common cold has no cure, but people don't worry about it that much, do you? Or blow it out of proportion like they are with the coronavirus. Sure, I'm oversimplifying it, and I'm not telling you not to worry about the virus. No, it is dangerous and it is a threat, but what I want to say is that the media gives it a bit too much attention than it actually needs. You would prevent yourself against it just like you do with any other infectious disease. Recommendations include regular hand washing, covering your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing, thoroughly cooking your meat or eggs if you are into eating those, and generally avoiding contact with sick people if you can help it. And that's it. That's literally all you have to do to stay safe. But I'll be damned if everyone thought so, because it's not always that simple in people's mind. They always have to be conspiracy theorists. But science says that that's it, and that's what I would believe in. On to debunking some myths. The internet is a wonderful place, and a lot of couch doctors spread dangerous and falsified facts that can spread fear amongst people, and well, people being people, they can use it to justify the already existing racism, which is an absolutely disgusting thing to do personally. So let's start off with an easy one. There's plenty of nonsense that has emerged out of panic, such as many people believing that hot or cold temperatures kill the coronavirus in your body, which is false, since the human body is always at a regulated temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. And it is enough for the virus to spread, so taking hot baths or high temperature fluids would be rather harmful to you instead of preventing the virus. Second, the virus cannot be transmitted from imported stuff from China or somewhere that the virus has already spread. Many people have stopped ordering products from China and other places with the virus, fearing that the virus will come along with it, like some sort of return gift or some sort of freebie, but no, that's not how it works. It is false, since the virus cannot persist on surfaces for too long, as I said before. False means to prevent against the virus, such as taking antibiotics, which does not work since it's not a bacteria, it is a virus. Using UV lamps, which causes radiation, saline or vaccines, which don't really exist for the virus, do not prevent against the virus whatsoever. Stick with hand washing and being vigilant. Now, this is a kind of a funny thing. I'd like to give a separate mention to drinking alcohol to kill the virus, which is by far the most funny and most popular myth to be circulated, since it can be used to justify drunkards doing what they do, unfortunately, but it doesn't do anything against the virus except, well, get you drunk. Alcohol, however, the rubbing kind, not the drinking kind, can be used to disinfect your hands, such as in a hand sanitizer, but don't put it inside you for the disease. Like, it's your choice, man, but don't rub it on yourself because it is harmful in some ways. So it is a false method that's been circulated. Oh, and I forgot, masks. Most importantly, masks. I see a lot of people wearing masks in public, and well, truth be told, spoiler alert, masks don't do anything to protect against the virus and would do no good against it than covering a face or mouth any other way. People are literally shelling out money, and the cost for masks has doubled in my area. and they're shelling out a lot of money for self-satisfaction to buy masks and wearing it without knowing it doesn't do good at all. But I would like to mention there's a special kind of respirator called the N95, which is a surgical mask. It's not a mask, it's a respirator, but it looks like a mask, but medical terminology. So it has shown to be greatly effective in a medical environment for medical professionals treating the coronavirus, but most people don't have the proper training to fit it the right way, so it doesn't have any crevices for the virus or air to creep through. And without having the proper training and not checking it for damage after each use, the N95 in a common person's hand would be still not as effective as a normal mask or just a cloth put on your mouth, like the one I had at the start of the video. And people also think that once you get the virus, once you get the disease, means that you are dead, gone. Chances of survival? Nil, nada. But no, that's not the case. 81% of the people only have a very mild case of it. Only 4.7% are critical, and with a 2.3% death rate, and the people that died have almost always had an underlying health issue or a health condition that was more times severe and was more likely to kill them whenever than the coronavirus itself. So those are the statistics, and as you know, statistics can be manipulated any way the people want. So those are the kind of myths that people go by. Also about conspiracy theorists, the virus is not a bioweapon manufactured by China. It was not made in a lab, nor is it an attempt by the Chinese government to kill people. That's absolutely ridiculous. Nor are the lizard people involved. Take off your tinfoil hats and look at the fact that it closely resembles the SARS and the MERS viruses, which are in themselves naturally occurring viruses. Please stop trying to justify conspiracy theories and racism to this serious issue, because at this time you gotta be vigilant, right? So we have discussed quite a lot about the coronavirus and what you need to know. So quick recap: it is an infectious virus that you can easily avoid if you take the proper steps while the outbreak is still happening, and it would be helpful to have some knowledge about it so as to not make an ass out of yourself through fake stuff. So yeah, I guess that's all about you need to know about the coronavirus, and not like there was much anything to know about the virus than debunking myths and stuff, but that's what humans do and that's what we do the best. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope this video has been helpful to inform you about what's the truth. And yeah, I don't normally make these kind of videos, but I thought I would, since people fall for anything these days, and that kind of bugged me a lot. If you like this video, then be sure to give it a like, comment about any questions you might have, and I'll be happy to answer them and heart them in the comment section below. I don't get a lot of them, and I have a lot of time, so yeah, put two and two together, right? Consider checking out my other stuff if you want, and consider subscribing if that's the kind of thing. But yeah, so come summy scalp from our side. Anyway, that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Keep quiet.